Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We are in 2025. So I'm going to go over the guns I shot the most in 2024, talk about why, and then I'm going to go over my plans for what I'm going to shoot in 2025. So, fuck, did I say any of that right? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Like, subscribe, all the other crap that you're supposed to say. Now, it is 2025. I'm going to go over the guns that surprised me the most in 2024 and why I ended up shooting them more than some of my other firearms. So we're going to kick it off, and then I'm going to go over the guns I plan on shooting the most in 2025. So we're going to kick it off first by explaining a backstory here. Prodigy. Love the Prodigy, nothing wrong with it now, but originally I didn't go into a store and intend to buy a Prodigy. I got this actually in 2023. I did shoot it a little bit in 2024, but the video has nothing to really do with this gun. But the fact is, in 2019 through right at the beginning of 2022, I had the opportunity to be part of test and evaluation for a lot of publications. So they would send us multiple guns, about 40 each time, and myself and 4 other guys, we would go out to the range and we'd get to burn them down. I'm talking 10, 15,000 rounds of ammunition. And so the 2011s were just kicking off really big at the beginning of COVID, and then moving into before I was unable to provide objective feedback anymore. So I was able to shoot pretty much every model of Staccato, Nighthawks, Wilson Combats, you name it, I was able to shoot and experience. So one, I never actually thought I would settle and go with a Prodigy. It's one that I personally didn't get to test. My buddies did. They had great experiences with them. But then the production level ones come out, and it was hit or miss. A lot of them had issues. My buddy got one that had issues, sent it back to the factory, got it in, and said, hey, do you want it? We traded for it. I go to put an optic on it because he never did, and I realize why is because you have to spend $100 after spending, at the time, $1,300 on a pistol. You have to spend an additional $100 to get an adapter plate to put the optic of your choice on there. So I was a little disappointed with that, but nonetheless, the gun has ran wonderfully ever since. I don't usually keep lights on my pistols, by the way, but on the Prodigy here, it really balances out the gun, and it makes it feel nice when you're shooting it. So there's a reason for me telling you the story there. So one of the guns that surprised me the most in 2024 is the SDS Arms, the Tisas 2011 line. This is the only one I own of their 2011 line, but it's the 5-inch government model. I have a threaded barrel in it right now, their drop-in threaded barrel. You have a direct optics interface system, and you've got the beaver tail. One of my favorite features is with the ambi safety, it almost sits flush with the module. I do have a Surefire on it, and mainly because I wanted to see if it would fit tightly on this gun, because it doesn't, it rattles. It's one of the older mechanisms here, so it doesn't really fit tightly on any other pistol I own. So I just wanted to try it. Anyway, didn't have high expectations for this gun, especially after all the other 2011s that I've shot. And is it a Staccato or a Nighthawk or a Wilson Combat? It's not. It's a production level gun. It's an entry level 2011, but it does have features and performs much, much higher than its pay grade. You have an extended magazine release. You've got the beaver tail. You've got the direct optics interface. You have no proprietary magazines here, not that the Prodigy does either, or the Staccato, but it does take regularly available 2011 mags. I didn't do the 10-8 test or anything with this gun. I just shot it, and it is shot well. I had a lot of Turkish ammo. I did a video shooting my MP5 and seeing how well it would function with the Turkish ammo, because I pretty much had issues with really hard primers out of just about every box of that ammo. I had at least one failure to ignite, so I wanted to burn through it. And I put a lot of rounds. I ended up shooting this a lot more than my Prodigy or even my Springfield Operator 9mm. So this gun really surprised me in 2024, and I look forward to potentially getting the Mac 9 commander size one to compare it to the Prodigy and some of the other 2011s that I've shot. Moving on, this gal right here probably got to see, pistol-wise, probably got to eat more of that Turkish ammo than just about of any of my other guns. I absolutely love high powers. I love shooting them. I love the history behind them. I really just enjoy the platform in and of itself. So I shot this gun a lot. The first range session I was sold. When I heard they were, making or revitalizing the Inglis, brand, I actually set money aside to buy this particular one, the L9A1. It's more or less a copy of a Mark III. I love what they did with it though. You get upgraded sights, not the USGI sights. You get the lanyard ring on it. It comes with great packaging, and it just shoots. I've had zero issues out of this firearm, and round count wise, I don't know 110%, but I know a minimum, we're going to say conservatively a minimum of 500 to 600 rounds. And I generally can say I trust the gun at that point. Internal parts wear and all, there's been zero issues. I mean, rather than me dropping it and cracking the grips, I've had no issues out of that gun. The number 4 spot, or number, I don't know where we're at here, I can't count, but I built this very late in 2024. So it is I've shown it off in other videos, it is a military surplus upper. It's one of the first ARs that I intentionally made for myself and assembled. By that, I've made and thrown together a lot of ARs like parts bins, but like intentionally going through picking up components. I actually started with the handguard. It's an Afghan, it came back from Afghanistan, as did the rest of the military surplus components on it. And so I wanted, at that point, just to build an entire upper. And so I did it over at Thoroughbred, and I've had a lot of fun shooting this rifle. So I want to say in 2025, this is gonna be the gun or my AR that I wanna stick with the most. I did have a Comp M4 on it, but they take up a lot of real estate. So I'm just playing around with different optics on it. I probably will put an LPVO on it, but I don't know. I mean, I have one. I just don't know if I'm gonna put it on there. Anyway, the number 1 spot, before I get to what I plan on shooting in 2025, more of that, the M70 AB2 contractor gun right here. This gal right here, number 1, it reinvigorated me and my interest in the AKs. I had to do a lot of research on these, and I started researching more on AKs. I made a lot of really cool friends in the process of shooting these and evaluating them. I ended up looking over about 40 of these, 35 passed, 5 failed. I've went over that in other videos. This one I bought directly from Atlantic Firearms, my own money, and I put more rounds through this AK than I did any of my other AKMs throughout 2024, except my 107 FR. I ended up shooting it a lot too because I just love it. This one I did modify. I have 2 of these. One I kept original. This one I did remove the folding stock, the underfolder, and put a Midwest components on because I had them, to be honest. Now, Midwest Industries was cool, and their hinge was failing, and so they did send me 2 new hinges instead of 1, which was cool. And the hinges held up since then. I put an Atero mount on there with a little hollow sun, and this just is such a smooth shooting rifle now. I put a JMac brake that was just laying around in the parts bin, and outside of that, a Wolf recoil spring, because the recoil spring was worn out in it. And now, I'm not great at math. I think you can see that or notice that by the video. But the chest rig that I run, the Pattern 83, you can see it in other videos, it holds 8 30-round magazines. Actually, technically, 2 20-rounders and 8 30-rounders. So do the math there, and if I load that rig up 2 to 3 times per range session when I was testing this, you end up getting well close to 500 rounds each range session, if not over. But if you're alternating firearms in between, of course you're not going to hit 500 per gun. But multiple range trips and sessions with this gun and head spacing in between, I know I hit over 1,000 rounds through it, and it's still looking good. So that is my number 1 gun that I was so surprised. A sub $600 AK military surplus, great history, and made so many friends, and several people I still stay in touch with and talk to daily now because of that rifle. So really cool experience there. Honorable mentions, this one I technically picked up at the tail end of 2023. It's the SDS Arms Stakeout. I do not work for them or represent them. I just happen to be very surprised by how well their products worked. I wanted this gun to fail almost for how cheap it was compared to, like, you know, my Kimbers, TRPs, my other 1911s. But this gun was very reminiscent of the MEU SOT guns. You have the high beaver tail, the upgraded sights, you have the Ring Commander style hammer on it, and you have an extraordinarily tight hood lockup, a factory 5.5, 6 pound trigger on it. I threw the Pachmayr grips on there myself. And I wanted it to fail almost. Like, I really did, but it hasn't. And in 2024, I shot this probably more. I shot my Kimber a lot because I picked it up in 2024, but I shot this more than I did my operators and my TRP. And there are two different variations. There are operators and there are TRPs. I shot this more than I did my favorite old school TRP operator. And so that's just wild that a sub $500 1911 ran as well as it did. And I'm like conservatively have probably 800, maybe more. And that's hard to do in a 1911 if you're not shooting like daily. But I shot that. I was burning through, again, surplus ammo that I had. It didn't function great in some of my other 1911s, so I was trying to get that gun to have malfunctions. Outside of crappy magazines, I've not had any malfunctions out of that 1911, which is wild. Only thing I've had to do is after about the 5, maybe 700 round mark on that gun, and this may have even been in going right into 2024, I did have to do a little bit of a tuning on the extractor. And after that, I've done nothing to it and just continued to shoot it. I would trust my life with that gun at this point. That's wild. The CNC machining we have today is just crazy. Anyway, going into guns I plan on shooting in 2025. Every year I say I'm going to pick about 5 guns: a polymer framed, an alloy or steel double action, single action, a 1911, an AR, and an AK. And when I say AK, I'm going to count 1 for 2 on that one. I want a 5.56 like a Galil, and a 7.62, and I'm going to stick with those 5 or 6 the entire year. I never do it. I say it every year. But right at the tail end of 2024, Ruger goes ahead and releases this little gal. This is the RXM, and it's a modular Glock. If Glock and Magpul not Glock, but if Ruger and Magpul, I'm sorry, it's a modular, basically a modular Glock is why I keep saying that. But Ruger released this gun. If Magpul and Ruger continue to support this, make aftermarket like grip modules for it, Ruger hit it out of the park with this. I've only put 30 rounds to it. That's it. Not enough to really give you an impression, but by feel alone, I don't have to change my grip whatsoever to eject the magazines. You get forward cocking serrations, a direct optic mount that takes 2 or 3, a direct optic interface system that takes 2 or 3 different optics, the major ones like Dr. RMR, Dr. Micro, the RMSC maybe. Anyway, you get a lot of gun for $400. You have a ledge built in. You have an undercut on the trigger guard. So you have the undercut on the trigger guard that's conservative, but it's there. You get a higher grip on it. You have the ledge. I love the ledge. I realized that during physical therapy is that I really appreciated the ledge for indexing points. And the 30 rounds I got to throw through this gun, it just worked. I mean, it functioned well, it shot well. I shot it with iron sights first, then I put the little Viridian on here. This is the RFX35, and I went with it because I had it for 1, and 2, it's a green dot, and I like green dots better than red. This fits my Shadow System holsters perfectly. So if Ruger and Magpul continue to support this gun and it continues to function well, I really, really think they're onto something. Modular Glock. I mean, there's so much they could do with this. So I really hope that they do. I really like it because number one, it's just not another Glock. It's modular. I can change out the grip module without. I can go ahead and screw up the stippling on this one and just replace the grip module, or I can get a couple different, like, I don't know what they're going to do with it, but the point is I love the concept. And again, only 30 rounds, not enough to really give you an impression on it shooting wise, but enough to say so far that it functions and that I like it. While I was at it, and I'm not a Magpul fanboy by any means, I don't think any of my rifles even have Magpul stuff on them. I will say honestly that Magpul stuff just typically tends to work. This is the 320 grip module they put out, and I really, really like it. One, no changing of my grip whatsoever. To manipulate anything on this firearm, I don't have to change my grip. I love that. 320s are pretty controversial right now, with them kind of having a level of autonomy and doing their own thing occasionally. This is a police trade-in one that I've shown off in other videos. I had it in the Strike Industries Bravo chassis. I pulled it out to throw it in this and test it. I haven't got to shoot it yet. But the module, it feels like a 1911, to be honest. So I really like this feel of that module. I hope it doesn't become self-aware and autonomous, and I say that jokingly, but I know it's been catastrophic for several people, and so I say it jokingly, but I know it is potentially a very serious issue that can occur to anyone. So I really want to say that I really don't take light of it, which is why there's no round in the chamber of that gun, and I don't plan on carrying it. So why would I buy a module, grip module for it? Because it was cheap and I wanted to try it. I also have the, I had pre-ordered and bought the Bravo and, picked up a Flex Raider before I knew that the 320 had grown to be autonomous and self-aware. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you plan on shooting the most in 2025. AR-wise, mine is going to be the gal I built here at Thoroughbred. AK-wise, 5561, right off the bat, the Galil, shown it off in other videos. It's going to be number one for my AKMs. 762 AK, it may be the M70. I really do need to pay some attention. The crank's over there on the wall. I need to give it some love, but I don't know yet. I haven't decided that. These are the ones that surprised me the most in 2024. 2025, I am going to run the dog crap out of that Ruger RXM, and I hope it continues to impress me. But that's it. 1911, I do know which 1911 I'm going to be trying to shoot the most out of, and that would probably, I don't know, I'll let you know. Actually, I'll do another video on it. Thank you for watching. Drop in the comments what you're going to shoot the most, what you plan on shooting the most, or what gun it is that you're looking forward to getting in 2025. Out of guns that I plan on buying in 2025, the Brigade Makasi is probably the only one that I have my eyes set on for sure. But that's it. Let me know what you plan on looking at or getting. And by the way, there's absolutely no reason for me wearing what I'm wearing right now. I had the shirt on and came down here to make the video and was like, yeah, there's the chest rig. I'm going to throw the suspenders and the rig on. And I just like boonie hats. And I'm camouflaged now. Hopefully you could see me throughout the video. Thanks for watching. Again, comment section. Put words in there about things, please. And thank you.